Alrighty, so next episode of the podcast, we got Jenny here. Jenny works in the Hope, the food bank in Magherafelt, and really the reason why Jenny's on here is because I want to know a little bit more about it, and I thought it would be a cool way to just spread the word in the local area as well. So Jenny, I've introduced you myself, but why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Jenny Thompson. I live in Tobermore. I've lived there 20 years now, originally from the Big Smoke.
Oh.
Yeah, married to Davey of 20 years, and I have 2 boys looking good.
20 years in Tobermore.
Yeah.
And
I'm still a city girl as of 1 year. Give me another 2 years and then I'm officially a country girl, but you'll never get the city out of the girl. Yeah.
Does your family still live up in Belfast?
Some of my family, yes. My parents live now at the North Coast, but my brother and family would live still in Belfast. So.
Brilliant. How do they enjoy the North Coast? All right.
They love it.
Aye.
They retired up there.
That's the place.
It's been their dream, yeah.
Love that.
They retired
Lethal.
up there.
So have you always worked in the food bank or?
Yes, from the very beginning.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about the food bank in Magherafelt and how did it start and when did it start?
So it started back in 2014. We did a little bit of research at the time in the area about sort of what there was a need for.
Who did research?
Me.
Yeah.
Initially. I suppose for me, I had a bit of a holy discontent, as I call it, where I just felt that there wasn't a lot going on in our community to support people, specifically from a faith background. And I did a little bit of research and went and visited a couple of the other Trussell Trust food banks that I knew, friends who ran them, chatted to them, and then got in touch with the Trussell Trust, met up with them, and they actually said the Mid-Ulster was one area that they felt there was a need for a food bank, but there wasn't that they were aware of at the time anywhere. And so we decided to hold a public meeting in Magherafelt in the November of that year. I think it was about 60 or 70 people attended it. Yeah.
How did you get that meeting organised?
We just stuck an article in the paper.
Really?
Got Diddy's to give us the cafe for the night.
Wow.
In Magherafelt, and then Suzanne, who was an employee in the Trussell Trust at that stage, she came up and just shared about the work of the Trussell Trust, and then we just put information leaflets out, just encouraging people to sign up if they wanted to learn more, if they wanted to be involved, how involved they would like to be, and from that we got our steering committee, and then that.
What's that word?
So it's sort of like a group of people who are willing to steer something into action.
Okay.
So steering it from paper into actual doing it.
Go-getters.
Yeah. So then in December we opened a bank account and we partnered with the Trussell Trust, and in that January our steering group became our trustees, and that was John Fulton, Paul Stewart and Jimmy Evans at the time. Yeah. And that was in 2012? Or sorry, 2015? That would have been 2015 then,
wow.
Yeah. And then we became a charity then in May of that year, registered with the Charity Commission and with Companies House, and we opened the door to the food bank on the 27th of May.
Wow.
That year, it was a Friday.
Was that hard to get it registered as a charity?
No, I think we were very fortunate. It happened quite quickly for us. But yeah, no, we had a lot of different stumbling blocks along the way, but it's just amazing how God allowed things to slip into being. Where we were hitting barriers, then people came into our path who were able to solve those for us. So yeah, we opened in the May that year, and we were just a food bank. That's what we started as, because we really had the heart to do one thing, do it well, and then see where we went after that. So that's where the food bank came from.
And it was just the 4 of you at that stage,
yeah, it was, yeah.
Helping? And what were you just doing from January till May till like you're officially a food bank?
Before you could officially partner with the Trussell Trust, you had to have a bank account.
Okay.
And then before you had a bank account, you officially had to have governing documents as an organisation to say what your objectives were, how the charity was going to be run, organised, governed. And there was a lot of little things like that had to be put in place before then you could officially register as a charity.
That makes sense.
Register as a company. So yeah, it was busy, just trying to get a lot of things in place and trying to find premises as well. Thanks to one of the directors, John, he was able to let us use one of his facilities in the town.
Nice.
And that's where the food bank then, the warehouse opened. And then there was a little office across the lane that he allowed us to use. And then we had to find a space that we were actually going to deliver the food bank services from. We looked at a couple of different premises, and the Baptist Church approached us and asked us if they could help us. And we were like, yeah, well, our heart is to work alongside churches in the community to try and empower them to support their community. And we felt like this was an opportunity to do that with them. So we've been with them up for 8 years now, just up until recently when we moved out of there.
And you just moved into new premises?
Yes. So about 4 years ago, we'd been dreaming. So we've been a food bank at the very beginning, and then we dreamt of doing more. And really, Magherafelt Food Bank as a name wasn't a very good descriptor of who we were and what we were doing. Because if we'd have had social workers ring us and say, so we have someone, one example was they were partnered with a man in the community who had lost his partner, and his partner did everything for him, and he felt a bit hopeless and fell into depression. The housing executive wanted to do work on his home, but the home was in no fit state for them to come in and do anything with it. The social workers wanted to teach him how to maintain the home and help him get back on his feet, but they couldn't do that because they didn't have the opportunity to try and get the house gutted and cleaned, and the man couldn't afford that either. So they approached us. We checked our insurance. We checked with the volunteers, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. So a group of us went into the house that night and gutted and cleaned it for him. And the social worker and all was there at the time, and then we were asked back about 6 months later because the housing executive wanted to put carpet down in one of the rooms, but they needed some furniture moved first. So we went in about 6 months later and moved a wee bit of furniture. And the difference from the first night we met him to 6 months later,
big difference.
He was a proud man.
Really?
He was showing us around his house.
Nice.
Showing us all the new doors that had been fitted in the house, the new kitchen that had been fitted, the back garden had all been sorted. And that was a wee proud moment for us, because we realised that if we hadn't have gone and helped in the first instance, the housing executive wouldn't have been able to go in and do all those other things. And his whole demeanour had changed. So when I say we were a food bank at that stage, that really doesn't fall into the name of a food bank. So we already at that stage had partnered with an organisation called CAP, Christians Against Poverty, who work across Mid-Ulster to help people in debt. And we were sharing an office and we were sharing resources as much as we could without being the same organisation. And we just really felt at that time that we needed to cement the partnership. So we were able to get some funding through the Trussell Trust that allowed us to change the charity name to Hope Magherafelt. Because all we wanted
was it
to do is
Magherafelt
bring
Food
Hope.
Bank?
Yeah, it was Magherafelt Food Bank from the
Nice.
very beginning. And then 4 years ago it became Hope Magherafelt. Because we really just want to bring hope to our community and hope to people in our community. So...
And is CAP a part of that?
Yeah, we run CAP across Mid-Ulster.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Ruth Donaldson would be our CAP Debt Centre manager.
Wow.
And she would be the link then across Mid-Ulster. Where our food bank is more Magherafelt and the surrounding towns, then CAP runs across the whole of Mid-Ulster. So yeah, so we've been doing that then for the last 4 years as Hope Magherafelt, and just continuing to work through the Baptist Church, which has been, it was such a blessing all those years, but we've always dreamed of our own space.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we've just moved into our own
It's good to
space.
have that space, but yeah, nothing like your own.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the best thing about your new space?
Space. No, having, I know people will take this for granted, but having a toilet and hot running water and an office big enough that I don't have everything stacked behind my desk, which is where we were before. Yeah, and just being able to have that opportunity for the rest of the staff, for them to feel like they can call somewhere home, and also to allow us to dream about what we could be doing more in our community.
Bigger
Our
vision.
space has prevented us from doing that.
Wow.
But no, it doesn't, which is a scary thought.
Yeah,
because
I
that
know.
now means
No,
we
yeah,
have to do stuff.
You pushed into a positive corner.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then what's the new space all about?
So
There's
I suppose-
obviously space for the food
Yeah.
to be stored.
Yep, so we've got our food bank, we have a store in there, and then obviously we've offices, we've more rooms really than we've ever had before, which is a dream. But our main space is what we're calling our hub, and the heart behind the hub is just a dignified space that we can welcome people in who are struggling in our community, whether it be when the food bank's running, it'll run from the hub, whether we are offering courses, like our CAP money coaching course, which is sort of a empowerment tool to give people the skills that they need to look at their finances a bit more deeper.
Do people come in and do that course in the house?
It's a course that can either run over a number of days, or it has different modules specific to different things around finances, so it can just be specific modules. And then we have a little cooking and budgeting course that we do as well.
Wow,
Now, some of
that's
these-
brilliant.
Yeah, some of these have been on hold since lockdown, just because we haven't had the space, but now we're looking to the new year to try and get them back up and running again. So the hub really for us is that welcoming space, that dignified space that when people walk in, it reduces the stigma of what they expect a food bank or a dead organisation or a cooking programme or anything like that. It just takes that all away and just says, we care, you're welcome, come on in for a coffee, come on in for a tea, let's chat, let's see what we can do to help you type thing.
Wow. How big of a need is there for this in Magherafelt and then obviously surrounding areas?
Yeah. So the food bank itself is Magherafelt and all the surrounding towns. So for us it would be probably from here to this side of Portlanone, this side of Toome,
wow.
to Moneymore, and just this side of Cookstown, Martin. We try and stay out of areas that we know there's other independent food banks in, because our heart is not to try and be better than anybody, but our heart is just to work together and support each other. But all of our referrals, both for food bank and CAP, would really come from our referral partners who work in all of those areas, and they would, whether journeying with someone, whether it be in debt, whether it be because of a breakdown in their marriage, whether it be because of their mental health or their physical health, or maybe it's a social worker or a health visitor, while they're journeying with families who they then identified to be struggling to buy food or who are in debt, then they would be referred to us, to our projects. So that's sort of roughly the main area, and then obviously CAP then is right at the other side of Dungannon and up to this side of Garva, I think it is, because they're all of Mid-Ulster.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just try and support people where we can, and at the minute in those projects. Is there a need? Yes, definitely. Up to now we were only open on a Friday, whenever we were in the Baptist church, but now we have our own space. We've been able to open the food bank more. So
what's that mean? So someone can come in and get
So that's
food?
where our referral partner would give someone a voucher, and then the times that we're open, they can come in and redeem that voucher then for a food parcel. So we're open a Tuesday, a Friday, 11:30 to 1, and then a Tuesday evening from 7 to 8. And they bring their little voucher in, and then we just sit and have tea and coffee with them, go through a packing list with them to give them choice. Because when they go to a normal supermarket, someone doesn't throw food at them that they're not going to like.
Yeah, sure.
So we give them choice of the food items. We have toiletries as well that we'll supply them with. And we also then would add an extra fruit and veg, fresh fruit and veg, sometimes meat vouchers if we have them. If we have a source or a contact to get people oil or support with electric, then we'll try and do that as well. And then they leave with 3 days worth of food, breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks for the whole family.
And obviously you're getting to know how many people's in that family and then serving that.
Yeah, and I think for us, up to now, our food bank, because we work through the Trussell Trust network, and it's their model of how we deliver food bank that we're using, it's difficult at times just when you're a food bank, because people come in and we maybe only see them once, and we hear their story, and we signpost them maybe to organisations that we know could help them, but that they don't know of, and we put them in touch with them. But sometimes we never really know about the end goal or what's happening at the other end. And so for us, being Hope Magherafelt allows us to go a little bit more deeper in that, and that's what we're hoping over the next months and years, is that whether we can, if we see an unmet need in the community, if we can meet that need through the charity, then we'll do that. Or if we can't meet that need, then how do we make better partnerships with other organisations so that people aren't coming through our door and then having to go to someone else's door and share their story there, and then go to another door and share their story there, all to try and get support. It's sort of like you should only have to tell your story once, and in trying to tell that, you've built up that confidence that then we can support them and connect them with our trusted partners to get them help out of their crisis.
Well, how do you get money for this? How do you guys get money to buy this stuff?
In different ways. We do apply for grants, and we get some funding for grants, and over the years.
So like from the council?
Yeah, we get funding from the council, and then we also get funding through the Trussell Trust. We can apply for their grants that are available. We also get funding from some local businesses who support us, some on a regular basis, and some ad hoc. I think from a food bank perspective, people are extremely generous when it comes to the food bank, because we rarely have to buy food. Since really lockdown's the first we've had to start to buy some food, but we still, it's a fraction of the amount because the local community donate all the food that we
So
need.
they just bring in food?
Yeah.
So someone can just bring in any food, or?
Yeah, well, we have a bin in Tesco's and we have a bin in JC Stewart's.
Oh.
And anyone, when they're doing their shopping, can buy a non-perishable item and leave it in that bin, and then we collect it. Now,
So
JC
you can't leave in
Stewart's,
like a 3-pack of croissants or something?
no, unfortunately not.
But sorry.
In JC's, it can be purchased anywhere, and then they just leave it. They don't need to buy it in store. But Tesco's, it has to be purchased in Tesco's because that's a regional contract that Truss will have with Tesco's. They also have it with Sainsbury's and Asda. But the one that they have with Tesco's, so all of our food gets weighed into our warehouse, and then that weight goes back to Trussell head office, and then that goes back to Tesco's, and Tesco's give us then 20% back in cash of the weight that we weigh in from their store. Because ultimately all they're doing is providing the bin, and then the profit's going into their tills, but then they give us cash back for the weight of food collected. And that's because of the Trussell and the regional contract we have with them. So yeah, all of our food is donated, which we're very grateful of. We do have to top it up at times with certain items when we run low, and the main thing we would run mostly out of is toiletries. But like we've a pharmacy in the town that for the last 2 years has just rung up at times. He's done it recently, and I need to get back to him. But he's just said, "What do you need? I'll get a pallet delivered next week to you." So,
who's that? Do you mind?
O'Brien's.
O'Brien's? Wow.
So they've been very supportive. Other than that, we've got some monthly donors that would donate to the charity. It can be difficult at times because when people have known us to be a food bank at the beginning and now we're Hope Magherafelt, they will sometimes think that we only just do food bank still as Hope Magherafelt.
Yeah.
And while food donations are amazing, we do have wages to pay, we have insurance to pay,
Sure.
we have a van to upkeep because we have to collect the food, we've got to do deliveries with the food, things like that. So we try and come up with different wee fundraisers over the years. We did a walk to work last year for a week,
Very good.
myself and one of the other staff members, and we walked to work every morning and at night when we were working at night.
Very good, I remember that.
So that was good, and we've done the marathon over the years as well, and anything that we can. We've had a couple of other people do the marathon in our name and fundraise. So yeah, there is the element of fundraising that we need to keep going to keep us alive.
Have you ever been close to running out of money?
Yes.
Yes.
In different ways. So as a charity, I don't know if anybody knows this, but our funds are either restricted or unrestricted. If they're restricted, you can only spend them on what they were specifically requested to be spent on. But then the unrestricted funds is what sometimes goes a little lower than we would like. Because those are the funds that we can spend on things like the insurance and the property, our internet, our lighting, our heating, the upkeep now of the space that we have. But the unrestricted funds are items that are money that we're allowed to spend really where we're running low. If we wanted to set up a new project, it would be, okay, let's look about how we set this project up and what that looks like. I think our long-term dream would be to try and create a social enterprise that would bring money into the charity that then we would be able to keep and use for the charity, to keep it alive and to keep it funded. So that might be, there's loads of different examples of social enterprises, from making jewellery and selling it, and then the profits go back into the charity to keep the charity alive, or these are just examples of other ones that I know of. Things like that. But we don't know what that would look like yet, but we would dream of something like that in the future.
You guys are doing something at the minute. These here, do you want to talk a little bit about this here?
Yeah. So the idea this Christmas is we have our usual Hope Christmas appeal going on, and we thought this year we'd try and be a little bit creative. So we're offering a little alternative Christmas gift that people can buy for friends or teachers or neighbours. And the idea is, with a £10 donation, they'll get this little envelope, and in the envelope they will get a little Christmas card which just says on it how a donation has been made to the charity to support a family this Christmas. And our little flyers, stickers on the back, just tell people how they can contact us. And then they get a little Christmas tree decoration that we made, which just says Hope, and there's a little verse on it that they can put in their tree.
Love that. And people can get these in your building?
Yep, they can call in and get them.
Rainy Street?
78 Rainy Street, yeah.
78 Rainy Street.
Just in between network personnel and the dry cleaners.
Yes, and when can they call in
So anytime. There's usually someone around most days, or they can contact us and get us on Facebook at Hope Magherafelt, or you can email us, info@hopemagherafelt.com.
Love that.
So, yeah.
And how else are you taking money this year? Like, if people wanted to donate,
Well, so
how can you do
again,
that?
if you keep an eye on our Facebook page, we have links on there through different posts where people can go on and set up a monthly donation. They can contact us directly and we can get a monthly donation set up if they wanted to, or they can go in and just give a one-off gift through the same link as well.
Brilliant. And you're a very hard worker. I wear hard work as a badge of honor. But I've heard from various people that you work extremely hard. Like, you got to keep energy. You obviously love exercise and stuff. How important is that in like keeping energy and feeling?
Yeah, I love exercise, as sad as that sounds. I love sport. Something's been in my family since I was a little girl.
What have you done, sport-wise?
Anything
Anything?
really. Yeah, like
Just
when we
love
were
it.
younger, like my dad had my brother and I swimming from we were 8 weeks old in the pool every week. We did the BT marathon when we were 8, which was like 100 lengths between him and I. And yeah, we've played hockey. We love tennis, we love football, any type of sport. My dad had us at it. Wednesday nights was a particularly fun night. Him and I used to go and do back-to-back boxercise classes, and then at our local leisure centre in Belfast. And then my brother and I would have gone in and done the diving class.
Wow.
And then we would have stayed on in and swam for about an hour as well. So yeah, sport's been in my blood. My dad was big into sport. We loved going to the gym and stuff like that. And
That's class.
yeah,
That's really good.
water would be my main thing. But yeah, anything like that. Loved boxercise when I was younger. Anything at the gym.
Class.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a stage where you're like, oh, Dad, I don't want to go, or it was forcing you to go?
Not so much forced, but we did love it. Like the banter was
okay,
great,
good.
and I think that's what kept us going.
Did he keep it fun? Or
Mostly. Saturday mornings you had to do 50 lengths before you were allowed to go and mess around.
But were you ever like, oh, I don't want to do this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
But we still did it. And there's many some mornings, like I suppose, as an adult, we're an active family, and we love the water, so we would swim in the sea a good bit, and we're looking forward to go swimming in it on Boxing Day again. This year. We just love the water. It's just our thing. It's the water is a bit of my love language with God. So yeah, I love that, and I just love sport in its own. I find that probably the biggest struggles in my life, my only way of dealing with them was through sport, and just trying to keep my mental health good through going to the gym, or just being around other people in the gym and having that camaraderie and that support is just good.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much. No problem.